video I wanted to show you guys.
Of two girls kissing?
No, no, not that.
Sorry.
This is actually from
You
a
had one?
woman who talks about like the mindset you have to have in a traditional marriage. So, do you want to pull up the video? This is called The Transformed Wife for anyone who wants to, follow her on YouTube.
Oh my God, she's ancient.
Oh, damn. That was from a woman. That was from a woman. Just throwing that out there.
Female sexual competition coming.
I think she's been married for a long time.
How would you open?
There's a theory out there, even among Christians, that our husbands are supposed to meet our emotional needs. Now, you can't find that scripturally. They are to be our spiritual leaders. They're to wash us with the word. And if we have a question at church, we're to ask them at home. So they're definitely our spiritual leaders. They're head over us. We're to submit to their leadership. They are an authority over us. They are to protect us. And they're to nourish and cherish us, as Ephesians 5 says. And they are to provide for us. If any man does not provide for his family, he is worse than an infidel. But none of these verses, there's no verse in the Bible that says that our husbands are supposed to meet our emotional needs. What are they even? To meet that's not something you can grab a hold of. You can grab a hold of being the spiritual leader, washing us with the word, reading the word to us, rebuking us, teaching us. We can define what providing for us means, meeting our physical needs, our need for clothing and for food and shelter. You can define what protection means, to protect us from harm and injury, or when we're injured, they'll help us. But you can't really clearly define what our emotional needs are. And this is why, in fact, I just studied yesterday. I wrote a post about it yesterday. I'll link it below. But the term emotional needs didn't even come into existence until the 80s. And it was pop psychology. And it caused us to look inward and think about us and what we need and define what our emotional needs. We all get to define what our emotional needs are. We don't define those other needs, the spiritual, the being protected, the being provided for, this, our husbands being our spiritual leader. Those are defined in scripture. But our emotional needs, we get to define what those are. And so they become, what this article said is, it's narcissist. It's thinking about ourselves and what we want. Yes, we were created emotional beings. We cry, we laugh, we grieve, we mourn, we praise the Lord, But God tells us over and over again that we are to be joyful and thankful, to take every thought captive to the obedience of Christ, to renew our minds with God's word. All of our emotions come from our thoughts, and we alone are the only ones who control our thoughts. I used to use my emotions continually in the early years of my marriage to manipulate my husband. And it was ugly, and women will use their emotions all the time to manipulate others. We use our emotions before we're going to start our period, and we get in bad moods and we're sour, and we can justify that because we're going to start our period, or when we're sick. And I had to learn when I was sick for many years that just because I was miserable, I wasn't going to make other people miserable. There's no way my husband could have met all of my emotional needs of despair and pain and suffering and almost falling into a pit of depression when I was so ill for so many years. I had to learn to take my thoughts continually captive to the obedience of Christ and to renew my minds.
You can pause it.
Women, it's your job to be in control of your emotions.
So, is your husband supposed to meet your emotional needs?
She's right. She makes a really good point, doesn't she? Because, and this is kind of what I was less articulately trying to say, in the sense that emotional needs is a very nebulous term, right? What does it actually mean? It's hard to grab hold of, right? Like she says. But the problem is that marriage is now predicated on that. So a woman will say, well, he didn't meet my emotional needs, so therefore I'm going to divorce him and I'm going to go and travel the Caribbean for 5 years and, find myself or whatever. But it's like, it's an ever shifting thing, isn't it? Emotional needs, it can change on the on the turn of a coin, really. And that's the problem that we have in marriage today, and certainly in formalizing marriage into a contract and trying to bind people with that contract when it's based in emotion, which is changeable.
I mean, if you are going to base your life, your business, your diet program, whatever, on emotionalism, you're going to fail. Like, imagine if you go to Google and you're like, hey, like, what is the capital of India? And it's like, sorry, we don't feel like answering that right now. Would Google be the #1 search provider in the world?
No.
Right? If you're going to base your life upon how you feel, it is an absolute guarantee that you are going to be a failure.
But this is where there's always a clash, I feel, between men and women, because women are, by nature, and it's the beauty of them, they're emotional creatures, where men are very logical. And I feel like sometimes you have to understand and have patience with each other and understand, because sometimes this is like, women will say, I just need a man that understands me. Yeah, I need a man that's understanding. But then,
we don't even understand ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. They'll say, I need a man that's understanding and understands me. And then they'll be in a mood and won't tell you why. And they just expect you to know. Like we're geniuses. But that's the beauty of women, though.
They'll leave the relationship to find themselves.
Do you know what I mean? It's true. So they'll be like,
if you knew yourself, why'd you have to find yourself?
Exactly. And how many times men, we've been in a relationship and your missus will come back and she's modest, she's not speaking. What's up? No, nothing.
Yeah.
You want me to be understanding? I don't what and they get angry at us like, why do we not understand them? But we're very easy to understand. We're the most plain, straight down the line. Okay, I'm upset about this. Women, they don't. But that's the beauty of them. Men and women are different.
Silent treatment's the worst.
Doesn't that link to like a boredom theory? So I heard this theory, right? And stick with me. This might be a little long-winded thing. So boredom theory that I saw online is essentially saying that we now live in a world, right, that all the essential things that needed to be done are done. So people are now so bored with reality that they are finding things to argue about. Think about it like this. In medieval times, when they had to worry about famine and where their water's coming from, women's rights and and the husbands being the emotional rock was never a thing.
Yep.
Back in Mongolian days when all these guys are doing that, the emotional needs of a marriage was never brought up. But it is now. Why is it different now to back then? What is different? The thing that is different now is human race has got most of their shit in order.
Well, and now it's about feelings. It's not about duty.
That's what I'm saying.
It's about if you feel like
and that's a Western-centric problem. You know, like
if you just about to say this as well.
If you look at the East, okay, India divorce rate 1%. Vietnam divorce rate. Does anybody know the divorce rate in Vietnam?
No,
7%.
Oh, nice.
Okay, you look at all the Philippines. Divorce? Do you guys know the divorce rate in Philippines?
It's very low. My fiance's Filipino. Is
0 because it's illegal.
They don't. Oh yeah, it is.
There you go.
I'm not saying
Don't.
Oh, you know what's funny? You know what's funny as well? Guess what else is illegal, and you'll be very happy about this. Abortion.
And he's gonna.
Paul's moving to Manila.
Yeah, let's go.
Next time I go out there, I'll bring you with
Do you know what? On that same point, I was literally, it struck a chord with me because I've just come back from Gambia. I was out there doing some charity work, and these lot have got nothing.
Boredom theory.
Yeah.
And you see what within themselves, they're so happy and grateful.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking the same thing. I was thinking, I wonder if these lot have the same, like, they're not going to have the same.
But like emotional side,
like all the issues that we have, because I'm thinking they literally are they're survival. They're on survival. They're walking miles to get water. They're trying to find out. They're trying to ration the rice and this and that. And I just, even the way they are now, I see the dynamics between the men and the women, and they all get along. All the children play together, and they literally just live in mud huts in the middle of a desert that's scalding hot. And I think. No two humans are going to get on completely fine all the time. But I just think, I bet divorce or splitting up and everything, they're too worried about trying to raise their kids and make sure the kids don't die.
Yeah, because in the West we're too sort of fat, aren't we? And we're too lazy and we're too comfortable.
Yep.
And so now we've got all these other issues, these other problems that we can
fake
worry
problems,
about.
Fake problems,
Yeah.
really.
We're
like, oh, you know what? God, I'm such a loser. I only have an iPhone 13.
We live in a privileged society that we're not even aware of anymore.
It's true.
Yeah.
We're very privileged.
It's good to go on. It's
All
good
right.
to go out to them third world countries and literally you come back so grateful, and you come back and just think my problems are actually nothing. I'm bothered because I've not got Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is not working.
That happened to me when I was lucky enough for that happened to me when I was 15. I went to Johannesburg, South Africa. My mom helped me raise money to go on this missions trip with my church. And I went out to like the boonies of, I think we were in Krugersdorp, which is another city in South Africa. And I met a lady who had gangrene in her leg. And we went to her house, which was like dirt floor and like tin shack. And we prayed for her. We're like, Lord, please deliver this woman from her gangrene. And then I was foolish young boy, 15. I was like, Lord's going to cure her, right? Like she's going to be okay, right? But later they told me like, most likely this woman's going to die. And then I went back to my area where I lived on the outskirts of the rich white area, and I could go to this school. I went to Winter Park High School, which was like one of the richest high schools in Florida. And I would see people be like, oh, you know, my dad sucks. He bought me a used Honda Civic and I wanted a BMW. You know, this air conditioning sucks. It only makes me kind of hot. And I was like, in Africa, watching death happen in a hopeless situation. Your perspective is totally changed. And I'm so grateful that my mom was able to pay for that and that I was able to get that perspective on life.
I'm telling you.
Because, you know, in the West, we're so just drunk on the benefits of
stuff.
the quite frankly like the glory
Wi-Fi
of
not working.
the glory of war for that our ancestors won when they stormed Normandy and and endured all these attacks from the Japanese and whatnot. So I just think about everything pulling back to where we are right now. I just think that our lives are so good that we have to make problems.
Yeah, and when you think about a lot of the culture war stuff, it's based on that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
a lot of this culture war stuff
Yes.
wouldn't be a thing.
So take it home with you guys. The boredom theory is real, guys.
Exactly.
I agree,
Yeah.
bro. I agree.
I want to read you about, this is a column where they answer some of the real problems that we have today in marriage, okay? Now, I don't want you guys to take this lightly. I want to pretend like we are answering this woman's question, okay? Dear Jessica, that's the girl's name. My husband wakes me up in the middle of the night wanting sex. I struggle to fall back asleep afterwards and have told him so. I wake up very early for work each day, so the fact that he continues to awaken me troubles me because I am not getting adequate sleep. When I bring this up, he claims I wake him up and that he is trying to satisfy me. I feel like he's gaslighting me, but he continues to insist it is my doing. How do I help? Now, I want to first give you guys what this woman said to her. Now, we'll see. Do women give good relationship advice?
No.
Okay. Well, no, maybe.
We already know it's not gonna.
Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, she's like, maybe
It's a waste of time.
All right. Look. It's possible your husband is lying to you about this to justify his habit of waking you for sex. And it's also possible you're experiencing some form of what is known as sex somnia. Get one of those little surveillance cameras that records movements and has an
I was gonna say that.
Not a bad shout.
I was gonna say that.
It's not a bad show.
I was gonna say
I was
that.
just gonna say, just do it. Like,
Exactly. I
Only-
wish I had that problem.
Only because the camera is only to do one thing, is to underline who is the actual culprit. Because she said that he said it's her, but she said it's him. So you get the camera out and you prove who did
Yeah,
it.
but why don't you just not complain and just do it? You're
Yeah.
supposed to sleep with
Listen,
your
She'll be
husband.
complaining if
I
he
wanna-
doesn't get his nut and then sleeps with
what's
someone
gonna
else.
happen? What's gonna happen? So they get the camera and they're like, aha, he's doing it. Then what?
Yeah. Listen,
We're the same.
I want to give a proper shout out to our friend Allie, the Real Femme Sapien. She gave a really good book that I think a lot of women and men should read. It's The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands by Dr. Lauren Schlesinger. Has anybody read that book?
I think you're on commission or something. How many books have you mentioned?
I read a lot.
Verse.
Yes, so do we.
So, that's a really good book for women to understand like what men really want. And Dr. Lauren Schlesinger, she does a really, really, really good job at it.
But maybe that wouldn't be an issue if she was being fulfilled each time.
Oh, it would have.
Something ain't working there.
Sexually
So
fulfilled.
she's been woken up and not, he's like, cheers, and she's like, what the hell? We just started. Maybe
well, she said that
that's
just keep
the
her
issue.
awake. Maybe she said it keeps her awake after. She never said that it was bad. She said that so maybe he's rossing it, and then
maybe
she's thinking, you know what, it's a good session. I can get back to sleep there because
So
women do wake up once you've had sex.
I thought it was your duty to have sex with your husband. So I'm just
marriage is an exclusive sexual contract. If you deny your partner sex, like who is he supposed to go get it from?
Yeah, but even in military, you're not always on duty. You're only on duty on a certain time. Like,
No, you're always on duty.
Supposed to be on duty.
Listen.
Like, say if you are the horse guard parade, you only on duty while you stand there.
No.
If you start messing with...
So essentially, you get to be a wife when you feel like it?
No, what I'm trying to say is you always use this negative words and negative connotation. Like, for me, this is part, like...
What was negative about doing your duty?
But because for me,
It's
that's
like a
not a
must.
duty. It's a pleasure.
Okay.
It's not a duty.
No, it is a duty.
I'm going to back her
Duty
up.
is a very different thing.
What if I wanted to find
second.
pleasure? What if I wanted to find pleasure with another woman?
Look,
Then you are weak.
You're always on
That's
duty.
like you give
One
up.
second.
So then you're on duty. So then you're on duty.
Wait. So he's weak for sleeping with another girl, but the girl's not.
You didn't hear me. Yeah.
But the girl is not weak for not sleeping with her husband.
No.
Let's get
What I
real.
said
Can I
was-
just?
I'm sorry, but I really need to put an end to this. Like, what should we do? We should do whatever we want. In the end of the day,
No, you shouldn't do whatever you want. That is complete. That's the selfish nature that's gonna get your ass alone and
I'm
dying
sorry,
with a dog.
But did it get you recently? I hear. But listen, let me just go.
Did
back.
what get me? Did what
But
get me?
you're just saying, like, you bringing it all to me and like, shouldn't be doing.
Wait. What get me on what?
Let's just go back.
No. Back up your statement.
I'm not going to even go into this.
Okay, fair play.
But you brought it up.
I know
But
I
it's
did,
like he
but
didn't insult you.
No, I'm not insulting.
No,
but he's not letting me finish. I said to him,
you're insulting him personally when he didn't insult you.
I didn't mean to insult him.
Yeah.
That probably came out wrong. But you can't say that.
It's okay. I have this effect on women on podcasts. I have this effect on women.
On me, I'm afraid, But you can't go immediately use that. I'll go sleep with somebody. You have to respect that we are not machines. Women are not machines. It's a must.
No.
There is never.
I didn't say you're a machine.
But his point was that she said it's about pleasure, and so he's saying if it's about pleasure,
Yeah, I didn't. Listen, I didn't.
With my men.
I
It doesn't
didn't
matter
mention.
what time it is.
No.
I'm not on the clock or off the clock.
Let me add some
My man
context.
wants me,
Let
I
me
want
add
him.
some context.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me add some context to the statement that I made. I didn't say my wife was neglecting me sexually.
But you don't have a wife. So.
Just listen again. Allow me to finish my sentence and add some context to this theoretical this situation we're talking right now. I was saying, because you mentioned it was about pleasure. I said, so what if another woman were to offer me pleasure outside of the relationship?
But I mean, you always bring in other women. Let's bring in. Let's do it. But whose husband are you?
Can I say something in her support? No,
I'm sorry. There's only one queen. Same way for me. There's only one king, and that needs to be known.
But kings throughout history have always had concubines. If we're gonna go
Look,
that
I
route.
don't care who had